So this is the Gibson Modern Lite in this TV wheat color. The only thing I've already changed are the knobs. I'll show that in a bit. They come with different knobs, and it comes in this really cool, very durable gig bag that comes with it, with a nice protection, and Gibson splashed all over the place. So the biggest selling point about this guitar, and well, the main feature is that it's, well, as you can see, it's been on a diet. So it's really thin. We've got this really nice belly carve there in the middle. It's a nice thin guitar, which also translates weight-wise. But apart from that, it's a very basic guitar. I think it's one of the cheapest Gibsons that you can get at the moment. So there's no real appointments. We've got dot inlays. There's no poker chip here, but there is one in the actual gig bag, which I'll show in a bit. And then it's very basic uncovered pickups. I think they're the 498T and 490Rs. And the headstock is very straightforward as well. It matches the color, which is nice, but on the actual truss rod cover, there's no name or anything either. And then we're looking at a set of Grover tuners. And in terms of wiring here, which might come as a surprise, there's no PCB, so it's just the pots wired up as is and soldered as they usually would be. Now this is something I will say that I'm considering to change, as I'm not entirely sure on the value of the pots. I believe they're 500k, but I think this guitar could really benefit from, say, like a 50s wiring and new pots and electronics, but we'll get to that later. Now in the gig bag itself, what you get along with that is a Gibson strap over here. And then you get this bag of goods, or this little Gibson plastic bag with a bunch of stuff in there. So these are the actual knobs that it comes with, and those are the knobs that are usually on the actual guitar itself. As I prefer the feel and, well, the look as well of speed knobs, I thought I'd put them on there. You get a poker chip if you want to put that on. I did try it on the guitar, but I prefer the look of it without it. So to give you some idea, I'll just hang it there. But I really preferred, for whatever reason, the look of the guitar without that poker chip. You get a fiber cloth, Gibson fiber cloth, some warranty information, a really handy truss rod tool, an Allen key as well, an owner's manual, very useful, and that's about it. So I was looking after a Les Paul because, you know, dual humbuckers, Mahogany, got a Marshall amp back there. It kind of made sense. And out of all the guitars I tried while I was over in London, The Modern Lite was the one that kind of, well, stood out to me because, well, it's lighter for one, so 3.3 kilos on this model, and it's quite thin. Well, it's very thin compared to like a full thickness Les Paul, so it's a lot more comfortable to play, as well with this belly belly curve that you can see here. So these things all kind of added up. I thought, well, you know, out of those guitars that I wanted to get, that was the one that kind of, you know, appealed to me the most. Now for the cons of the guitar, I think the nut, especially on the D string, isn't quite cut correctly. I have my doubts on the electronics as well. I mean, it definitely works, but I think we could get a lot more out of this guitar. Now, one of the things that, well, I guess put me off to some extent, and one of the reasons why I was super critical when getting this was basically the price. So admittedly, yes, it is. Obviously, it's a Gibson, it's a Les Paul, it's a lot thinner, it has certain appointments, but it's a very basic guitar for the money. So, you know, we've got one big slab of mahogany, two humbuckers, you know, your usual Les Paul controls. There's no binding, Grover tuners, and that's it. And I know if inflation is a thing, but I bought, it was 2007 or so, I think. and I bought a Les Paul faded, a Les Paul Studio faded, and that was around the 700 to 800 euros mark. And this retails usually new at close to 1600 euros, which I just think is a lot of money for this style, I guess, of Gibson Les Paul. Now, I didn't pay 1600 because I bought a return, so sort of like a B stock item for 1200 euros, which is still quite a bit of money considering what you can buy on the used market. But I really wanted to, well, get the guitar home and try it out in my setup. And it's just a blast to play. Like, it's really comfortable to play. And I have some kind of connection with the guitar, as esoteric as that sounds. So when I'm playing stuff, it just kind of resonates with me. Now, the thing here with the price, and I'll just show a few things online to give you some idea. So looking at Thomann here, so new, these same guitars are now at like 1,250, around that mark. But here we have a B stock, for example, that's just below 1,100. And then on Reverb, to give you just some idea, so the new price would have been around the 1,550 or closer to the 1,600 mark. And we do see some used models pop up as well, sort of 1,200. And even here, you know, 1,700 for this guitar, which is, I know, a bit worrying, but essentially new, that's the sort of prices that it would ask for. And then in the States, we've got used models that are closer to the 1,000 euros mark. I believe that some shops as well had, you know, some really big rebates on them. I've read online that I think Guitar Center had them at some point for like $899, which seems a lot more reasonable. I mean, at that price, I would have definitely sort of bought it without hesitating per se, but it's something that kind of irks me because I see these prices and I got it at a reduced price from that. But then I see stories of like, well, these guitars have been, you know, put on sale because maybe the last colors are available or people don't want the colors. And yes, that's normal. But the thing is, if you've just paid like 1,600 for a guitar and then only to see that, you know, a couple of weeks later, the prices are slashed to say 1,250, that kind of leaves a bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. It's sort of like if you bought something a week before, I know, like an Easter sale or a Black Friday sale. Yes, maybe with a Black Friday sale, you would keep that in mind and wait till the sale happens. But nonetheless, it's one of those things that with this guitar in particular, kind of stuck in my head. So this sort of like, I know, slightly bitter taste just because of, yeah, the price of the guitar. As stupid as it sounds, because, you know, if a guitar feels great, plays great, and it's the guitar for you, you know, expensive or not, it's a good instrument for you. But in this case, you know, when I'm seeing the prices and what things kind of used to cost and the appointments and things like that, and how the prices these days just seem to suddenly drop off. So we're seeing like these huge price reductions on, say, Gibson guitars that seem to come out of nowhere. And you're just thinking, well, what's the actual price of the guitar? And am I just being overcharged for, admittedly, a cool guitar, but am I being overcharged? So I hope you got something out of that. I still really like this guitar overall. I mean, it's really fun to play, and I think with some modifications, it will only get better. I've still got that slightly bitter taste in my mouth, given the price, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be holding on to this for a while and see what I can do with it. In any case, thanks a lot for watching. If you got something out of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like and a subscribe below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks.